Hello crafty friends, welcome to another The Reset Girl Design Team project. This time I'm working on a junk journal flip page, and you can see the new tool I'm working with here. I think it's going to be a game changer. So I have the We Are Memory Keepers clear cut punches that punch anywhere on your page. And I am punching 3 spots here, and you can see I kind of messed up on that first one, but that's okay, I'll just cut out a bigger hexagon. And the directions on this were really clear cut. See what I did there? So I just had to read them. And now I'm creating the second hexagon, and those are the 2 photos of Newport Beach I'll be working with. I'm using that We Are Memory Keepers clear cut hexagon punch to punch in this post-it note all over sticky paper, and I'm going to create my own custom stencil with this post-it note paper. I'm just showing you the back so you can see it is definitely post-it note paper. You just have to peel off the lining to reveal the sticky, and this way I can mask the area that I want in the shape of the hexagon and then use any stencil over it to create the shapes over that in the shape that I want. Okay, how many times can I say shape? You guys know what I mean. It's a pattern, a textural pattern. So this gesso has about had it. I'm almost at the very end. I've gone through quite a few tubs of gesso. So I'm going to have to break into a new one here, another Vicki Boutin gesso. And I'm going to use the plastic lid as a smearing device. Yeah, that's it. And you can reuse. The great thing about this post-it note paper is it's sticky enough for you to reuse several times. So I'm going to do about 5 or an odd number of these little masked hexagons with the bubbles, or kind of bubble wrap or circles, different color circles. So you notice that I'm using that spatula to create some texture. I'm not smearing it flat and kind of wiping off the excess. I'm leaving texture because this is a beach themed layout, and I want these to resemble kind of wave textures. So I'm doing a side to side horizontal swiping motion there. It's pretty fast. I think I sped it up 4 times, but hopefully you can see that, how I'm creating that. And I'm going to do a 4th one here, and then the 5th will be up at the top. So I want the hexagons to kind of flow across the entire 2 pages. And this is going to be a junk journal flip, meaning that it will be a fold out page. So I definitely want both pages to kind of flow together. Now I have to go off camera and dry this. You can dry it outside in the sun. I just left it outside for a while, and it dries pretty quick here in the desert. That's a Vicki Boutin water brush, and I'm bringing back those 2 photos of Newport Beach because I want to color match the Vicki Boutin watercolor markers and create a custom mixed media effect here. So I'm using the water brush with clear water first. I know it's hard to see, but that is clear water I put down in a kind of wave motion. So I'm adding the watercolor marker color with the water brush, but I'm not filling in the whole entire clear section that I created. And hopefully there you can see some of the clear water that hasn't had any watercolor marker color added to it. So I like to do this way because it creates almost a wave, almost a water look. And so that's what I'm going for, these free form shapes. I really like making these kind of free form and organic movement shapes that create movement on my layout because it goes well with the hard lines of the geometrics, the hexagons. So I'm just going to use my heat tool to dry this because I like the water lines that show up with this watercolor marker. So I'm going to add some clear water up here in a kind of wave motion again. I think you can see it better at this top side. And see how I'm adding that marker color, but I'm not filling in the whole area. And you'll see why I do that when it dries. It creates a really cool kind of, like I said, water look. So adding some more concentrated color, you can also go back directly with the marker if you want to create some swooping wave motions. And notice that I'm doing everything in kind of smooth fashion. I'm not going vertically up and down. I'm keeping everything in a smooth horizontal kind of curving motion, just so I don't get any harsh straight lines. And remember not to squeeze the barrel of these watercolor markers like that. because the watercolor dyes in this are very intense. So you can go back if you add too much. You can always use your water brush to take some away. But I definitely see how that's flowing. That watercolor dye is just beautiful, and the way it floats on the water and creates these free form shapes, kind of blooms they call it in watercolor paintings. So you can add it as much or as little as you want. Make this completely custom. You can make it as light as or as dark as you like. And then I'm going to take the water brush and dip it in that color and add lots of splatters, like sea spray across the layout. And I'm making sure that I add some of the color over all of those gessoed hexagons that I created on the background, just so that you can see the texture better. And I'm going to think about this and see how it's drying. You can either let it dry and keep those kind of marbly looks in the water, or you can dry it with the heat tool. Now I'm going to add some more splatters in kind of 3 areas around the page. And I'm just checking once again to make sure I have the color deep enough to kind of coordinate with the deep color of the sea there. So I'm going to go back and add some more concentrated watercolor marker directly from the marker itself. Oops. Now this stuff happens, but that's okay. I like to go with the flow and see if I can work it into the project. And that's what I hope that you guys can take a takeaway from this, is that even though this looks like a mistake, you can just keep going with mixed media. There's always another layer you can try to add on, some more water you can try to add on. There's always something you can do. So don't give up and try it more than once. And so I'm using my heat tool to move some of those splotches just so that we get a line, a water line. I really like the movement that adds. So here everything's dry. I'm showing you what it looks like when it's dry. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to punch out all of the hexagons on this sheet from the Reset Girl Getaway collection. And first I have to trim it out with my scissors so that the hexagon punch will work and I can get it close enough. So I'm going to use all of these. I'm not going to leave any out because I want to cover them and create like a flowing motion, like I said, across the whole 2-page spread. And look, that exactly fits. Look at that. You never know until you try, right? So I wouldn't have known that that was the same size. So that could come in handy at some point. And now I love this lady floating out in the sea. That's one of my favorite ones of these. These are such great images. I love the punch, these printables, and the she calls it the paper punch buffet. So you can simply use all of all of one shape, and the great thing about these digitals is if I don't have enough, say this is only a 6x8 layout, but say I'm doing a larger layout, just print some more. So I'm trying to get an eye for how I want the hexagons to be laid out across the pages. And I'm trying to spread out the different colors so that I have some pink in each section. Notice there's some pink florals on the right and up in the center and also on the left. And I'm also going to use all of these smaller ones. There's also a punch that coordinates with this. I like how the Reset Girl designs her pieces so that you can readily use some easily available punches that are already on the market. So this Fisker's punch fits. I'm going to use all of these on the page as well. And these are all different patterns. I don't think there's any repeats, so that's great. It adds a lot of interest to our page. And the fact that we have the gesso hexagons, and then we have the mixed media watercolor, and then we have these paper punched pieces adds a lot of layers and interest to our layout. That notebook paper is a great one right there. I need some more color in the bottom left. So now you can see I'm going to add the photo behind that center largest hexagon on the right there. And I like how that looks. So now I need to decide where I can kind of move around. I haven't glued anything down yet, and that's one of my little tricks or tips I like to give you guys is don't adhere everything down right away. You might want to move stuff, so I usually will lay the stuff down and not put adhesive on anything until I'm really set on where everything's going to go. It just saves me having to rip the paper because I've been there, done that. So I'm going to use this tag and create another hexagon because I needed a little more of that dark green. And moving things around, trying to decide. I'm going to save that bottom swoosh on the bottom right, that dark turquoise wave that I created with a watercolor marker. I'm thinking that that's where I'm going to put my title. So I'm going to leave that open. I'm not putting a lot of hexagons down there. And I need a hexagon at the top right though. And then I got the idea, I saw these sequins laying out on my desk and I was like, oh, you know what? I could make a shaker in that punched out spot. So I also had these jewelry. I think these are made for people who sell jewelry. I got them at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to fill this bag with sequins and make an easy shaker pocket. Because they were on my desk, so might as well use them, right? So there's that bag, and I think it comes with 250 of them. They might be like 2x3. So I'm filling this one with pink, and kind of, there's a rose gold, and they kind of spilled out, and I was like, oh, you know what? I like the randomness. Every layout needs some kind of random, so I like where the sequins fell out on the page. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to glue them down right where they fell out. So I'm going to use glossy accents to glue all of these sequins down. And notice that I've added a hexagon at the top right there with some sequins. So each area of hexagons gets some sequins to embellish it. I like that it adds some color and shine to the layout and a different texture besides the paper. So now that I like where everything is, I'm going to use the sticky thumb tape runner here to adhere all these hexagons down. And I like the fact that the rose gold, and also I didn't realize when I poured all of that, the teal or the sea colored sequins into the bag, I didn't realize that the shells were yellow, and I kind of like that kind of pop of the unexpected with the yellow shells. There is a tiny bit of yellow on this page, so that works. And also the crepe paper Maggie Holmes Sunny Days collection really coordinates with this Getaway collection from the Reset Girl perfectly. And there you go. I've gone off camera and stitched a hexagon shape. I used the post-it cutout that I created to make the mask. I used the cutout from the center to place it on the bag so that I could stitch and get my hexagon shape to be the right size, because I stitched around it, so I knew that it would fit on the back. So I'm going to adhere these. I'm going to trim them. Now that I have them sewn, I can trim around the plastic bag and the sequins won't fall out now. See, I'm just showing you that's the bags that I used. Here's the sequins, and I got these at Tuesday Morning. They don't have a brand on them, but... And now I'm going to trim away this sea-colored one. It looks like sea glass. So I kind of like that. I've never done a shaker pocket in a junk journal page. So this is a first for me, and I really love that it's kind of serendipitous. They were on my desk, so I was like, hey, why not try it, right? So I like how that looks. I like that it's different. Now I'm using these rose gold American Crafts thickers to create the title. It's going to say Newport, and I'm using the T-square to get those straight as possible. And I use my We Are Memory Keepers quick stick. A lot of people have asked me, what's that tool you use? And because I speed my videos up pretty fast, you can't really read it, but it does say quick stick, and it's from We Are Memory Keepers. And it has a clear flat end that's great for grabbing your letter stickers or anything like any regular stickers. And then it has, the other side has a sticky side that's great for picking up sequins and jewels. So I'm starting with the end of the word. I always start with the last letter and go backwards. So that way I'm not going to run out of room because I can't eyeball that very well. And I just use the edge of my ruler to make sure, and now I can center it now that I know how long the word is going to be. I do have another photo that I can add on the back of this flip page, but we're just doing these front 2 pages for this video. I figured it'd be a really long video if we did all of the 4 pages of this flip. So I'll probably do another couple videos with the other ones. And the other ones will have more of the crepe paper on them. So let me know what you think about this page, if you like the shaker pockets and the bag idea, or if you just think. I know Corey has kidded about being a lazy crafter, so maybe that's how the bag idea with the shaker pockets came about. I was like, hey, this is right here at arm's reach, let's use that. So there's the Newport title. I like the rose gold because it kind of brings out the rose gold of the sequins. I'm just trying to fix it because somehow I still got it not quite straight, but now you see how everything's looking. This is the back, and you can see those stitched areas with the shaker pockets. I'm going to adhere down. This is a pattern paper from the Getaway collection from the Reset Girl. I like this pink and orange, and that's going to be on the back side. And you can save your cutouts, so any of the punched pieces, you can always save those for another page, and you'll see that that's what I've done. So now we're almost done. I have some still shots. I'd love it if you would like and subscribe. See, there's the Maggie Holmes Sunny Days, and I stitched around that hexagon, and I'll probably do another video. So I'm just showing you how it looks so far. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you spending your time here on my channel. I'm grateful for everyone that's been here with me, and I enjoy your comments. Thanks for joining me. Bye.